Hi, I'm Mike Downer, and I am your host today. And I'm here with Edgar. And Edgar Ortiz is the owner of CMIT Solutions of Des Moines. So, Edgar, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got into all this.
Yes, I'm Edgar Ortiz with CMIT Solutions of Des Moines. We are a managed IT provider and a cybersecurity and AI implementation company. So we help small to medium-sized businesses in IT, cybersecurity, and now AI implementation. Um, how I came about all this was in operations in the military, work and intelligence in the military, and also in aviation, pretty much with all the systems and the background operations for intelligence and also uh, aviation. So did a lot of in the IT side in the military. Then when I got out, I actually opened a small business. Um, Sorry, worked for the government a little bit in operations, and then I opened my own a small business. And unfortunately, we did have an attack where we pretty much lost everything. And like any other small businesses, we don't thinking about that, and we think because we small, we are not going to get hacked, or hackers are not looking for us. Uh, Boy, I was wrong about that. And so that is the reason we are here now, trying to help small and medium-sized businesses don't go what we went through.
So sounds like you're a pretty resilient guy, and instead of just folding it up and going to work for somebody else, you decided to take charge of it, and you wanted to help other people not have to suffer what you went through.
Yeah, definitely. Just trying to help other small business owners and medium-sized business owners and organizations understanding the what is out there right now and the threat that we all are facing, especially now with AI that is tenfolding cyber attacks. So that's the reason we are here. We are not only here to help you to connect your computer to the internet, or connect your computer to your printer, or my computer went blue, how you help me or help you with your softwares. We're here just to protect your business only and give you that peace of mind so you can actually go out and do what you do best, that is running your business and gaining new clients in whatever business sector you are. So that is the reason we are here. We are here with a mission of the same thing we did in the military. Is the same thing that we treat our operations. We are here with a mission to help people to be in the best spot and don't need to worry about cyber attacks. The problem is they sometimes we don't worry about it because we don't feel it, we don't see it, because we think I have two computers, three computers, so I have five people in my office. But the problem is that yes, that can happen to you, and that happen every 39 seconds in this country.
Wow, that's a lot every 39 seconds. So, now that we know a little bit about your background and kind of what you guys do, I think we should get this started today with so what I wanted to talk to you about today was why compliance is now mission critical for a small business. So Edgar, when you talk about compliance today, what does that actually mean for a small business in practical terms?
So definitely compliant isn't a stack of paper or a checkbox that you handle to your accountant once a year. For small businesses, compliant in practical terms means that do you have documented proof that you are protecting your customer data, your employees' data, your information, and you as a business owner know who is in your system and who is using your system. It means things like, do you have a written password policy? Are you are backing up your data and actually testing those backups? Do you know who is accessing and who is actually using your network? So compliance is really just a good operational hygiene with documentation behind it. The documentation is what is protects you when something goes wrong. And believe me, we know about that. So something eventually is going to go wrong. So that's pretty much what compliance is to protect you from something coming in the future.
So, Edgar, in your experience, what's the biggest misconception that business owners have about compliance and being like too small to matter? So, like I said, just share some of your experiences and what you think that owners' misconceptions are about compliance.
Definitely. That's a great question. The number one thing that I hear is I'm too small. Nobody coming after me. And I have to tell them that exactly how that is backwards. Hackers love small businesses precisely because they assume you are not protected. And automation now with AI, automation attacks don't discriminate by your revenue side. They don't care what revenue side you are or how many people you have in your office. They know that they can scan millions and millions of IP address and looking for that easy door to walk through. So it's like a door open and they're gonna go through. And for regulators and standpoint, if you process credit cards, if you have health insurance information. And if you have any, for example, credit cards, to put it easy, you process credit card, you need to have compliance. And the number one thing for attackers is to trying to get through an easy door to get to that data. Today, go look the news for today. Today is Friday. Today, sorry, I forgot the day, but today just a news came out. Company here in Des Moines, Iowa, is getting sued for millions and millions of dollars because they lost millions of data points from the healthcare sectors. That is the biggest problem. The biggest problem that I hear is I'm too small. You are not too small. If you are thinking like that, your ignorance of requirement is not going to defend when you have a breach happening. And you telling the judge, oh, but I didn't know I'm too small, the judge is going to say, and then across regulators, and you sitting down across regulators and plaintiff and attorneys and everything, the argument I'm too small is not going to fly.
It's like they always say, ignorance is not a defense. Just like if you're speeding down the road and you're going 55 and the speed limit's 35 and you go, oh, I didn't know, you're still going to get a speeding ticket. So it's kind of the same thing. If you don't, if you're not in compliance, um, you're still going to be in trouble. So,
Yeah,
now
correct.
you
Yeah.
personally lived through a ransomware disaster. So, how did compliance gaps contribute to that in your case?
Yeah, definitely. That experience was a turning point for me professionally and personally. What I saw firsthand was the gaps weren't technical mystery. They were basic. They just haven't been implemented or documented. So, like a multi-factor authentication, backup that they are implemented, but they had not been tested. So when we needed them, they completely failed. No clear incident response plan. So when things went sideways, people were panicking instead of executing. So a compliant framework exists because of smart people, regulators, insurance companies, security experts sat down and say, here is the things that constantly prevent disaster or limited damage. When you skip those steps, you are not just not compliant on paper, you are genuinely exposed. I lived that lesson and in the worst possible way, and it drives everything I do now for my clients because we're trying to protect them. We're trying to tell them that, hey, I'm not your typical IT company. I went through it. I lived it. I knew what happened and I lost everything. And when you lose everything and you couldn't recoup and you needed to close the door and you say, what I'm going to do now? Now I'm going back to work for somebody else or I'm going to start from zero. That's what I'm trying to protect you from. I'm not selling you because I'm like the other IT companies. There are millions of them around Iowa and all across the world. But I'm here because I went through it and I know I experienced it personally. And I lost everything, and I don't want that to happen to the business that we are trying to protect and help here in Iowa.
And I appreciate what you're saying. And since you've lived it, and like you said, you lost everything and started from ground zero. You're taking your military background and hitting everything that you need to get your clients in the right position with military precision.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely.
and so, so how does having a managed services partner like CMIT change the compliance equation for a business? How does that help them?
Yeah, good question. So when we onboard a new client, we start with what I call the unglamorous fundamentals because that is where most of the real risk live. First is multi-factor authentication across emails, remote access, full stop, no exception, uh, zero trust. We go through, we do an investigation about everything all across your system, and we tell you if you don't, if you get something from this and you don't work with us and everything, at least I know that I'm getting out of your office giving you something to at least have zero trust, because at this day and age, especially now with AI, you need to have zero trust. Second is patching. Patching means, updating and making sure that your operating system and software are actually up to date, which sound obvious, but it's shockingly rare. People don't do that because you don't have time to go out and update all your softwares and all the operating system that are in your computers all across. Because what? You're working in your business, you're doing something else. So we do that. Third is backup integrity. Not just do you have a backup, because everybody has a backup and everybody say I'm in the cloud. What does that mean? So you took all your stuff and you give it to somebody else's computer. What about if the cloud goes down? So when we do that, we found that information. We look from everything that you have in your organization for is endpoint protection, the computer protection, the real monitor behind it. Now you can go out and buy insurance policy that say that they put some protection in your computer behind it, but who is real monitoring that? Who is 24/7 looking for that? Not just an antivirus. Everybody say, oh, I have an antivirus in your computer. 13 years old kid can break an antivirus now with AI. It's actually having that endpoint protection. And fifth is basic security policy documented, everything written down, signed by employees, review at least once a quarter or annually. Those five things allow alone put a small business ahead of the majority of their peers. And then from that foundation, everything gets built. So if you put that foundation into your business, then you can actually build with peace in mind. You can actually have hope that, don't get me wrong, doesn't mean that you're not going to get hacked on something, because if you click something that you should not be clicked, no matter what security we put in place, is you opening the door. It's like opening the door at your house and let a bad person get in. So, but we're going to be here to defend you. Put the foundation in place, and you can build what I say. You can build with hope. You can have that north that you're going to walk a straight line and achieve your goal without worrying about uh, all this craziness that is happening right now.
Perfect. So sounds like uh getting you and your company on their side is a great way to protect their business. Gives them a little bit of peace of mind. So let's just say that a business owner reaches out to you. What are the first compliance controls that you put into place for a company, and it kind of walk us through. I know you kind of gave us, a few of the general steps, but if I'm a business owner and I call Edgar and you come in and we have a meeting and I go, that's great. Kind of walk us through what are the first compliance controls that you typically uh, use for a business to get them set up for the protection that you are providing.
Uh, well, the first thing for us is just complete an assessment. I'm going to ask you hundreds of questions to
Hmm.
go through that assessment. We actually deploy an agent that we let it run for 24 hours, and that agent is going to bring a report back to us and actually tell us what we discover in your system. We can go more in depth, depends of like what are you
Please do.
looking for. For example, if you're looking for do what is called a penetration testing because you have some requirements from your insurance company, or if you are like you do some government works and they need to have that information, that's a little bit more in depth. But
Yep.
simple right now, first thing is for us to sit down and understand your business, ask you a question about your business, go do a walkthrough into your business and understand your people, understand you as a business owner and understand your people. From there we can take care of all the IT stuff and the security stuff. But first, it's just a really thorough assessment of like bunch of questions and walking with you and getting the history of your business.
That's perfect. So, Edgar, you've answered a lot of questions today for a lot of people. I'm sure that there's a few people out there that are a little nervous now, as they probably should be. So, just to kind of sum it up, no business is too small. Actually, the smaller the business, the more susceptible you are, because from what I gathered from what you said, um, the hackers are expecting kind of like if a robber goes into a neighborhood and it's a small house, you probably don't think that they have any security in it rather than going after the big mansion who you know's got security, and that one's going to be hard to rob, even though they got more stuff. So that's kind of what I'm getting from that. So you told us about your background. We've went over a lot of information today. We're going to have quite a few of these sessions, so you and I are going to get to know each other very well. But so at least we got the first steps down. Is there anything that you'd like to conclude with today before we sign off?
No, thank you everyone that is watching. And this is new for us, trying to be here at least a couple times a month,
Yeah,
so we can kind of talk directly to you. I know now, the fatigue of like podcasts and videos and things. That's kind of the new thing, but we are here in Des Moines to help you, and also in Overland Park, Kansas. We cover the Midwest. So we open for any call, any business, any level where you are. We meet you where you are. Like I say, we are different, no because we have better tools or other resources. We are different because we went through it. We know what you're going through as a business owner or as a small business, and we're here to protect you and protect your family also, not only your organization.
perfect. Well, Edgar, thank you for your time today. Next week we'll get together and we'll see. We'll learn a lot more from you and what steps we take after this.
See you next
Hey,
week.
thank you very much, Edgar.